Good morning, everyone. So, whatever we have seen in the integral equation, we'll stop the paper of integral equation now, and the remaining two chapters will start on after the numerical analysis two chapters. Okay. Since I am having two chapters in this, in the fourth people, I have two papers, that is numerical analysis and integral equation. Okay. So for that, now we'll stop with our integral equation paper, and our remaining things, that is a Green's function, stream Levy problem. Remaining two chapters we'll see later on after the numerical analysis. Okay. Now before going to numerical analysis paper, I want to ask you how many of you have studied numerical analysis paper. 1, 2, 3. Three students told you that they have studied. Okay. Rohini Dasi, Preeti, Pankaj More, Poonam Umbre, and all. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to see the syllabus of our university?
Yes, ma'am.
So in this we have the paper of numerical analysis. You can see here. This is a soft core theory paper. For that we are having options also, but the teaching will be done only for numerical analysis. And the syllabus for that is this one. Okay. There are in numerical calculations, that is first in the first paper or in the first chapter we'll see error. Then we'll go for iteration next, and then false position, secant method, Newton-Raphson method. Then we'll go for interpolation that we already studied in the 12th standard. Numerical solution for the system of linear equation. This one may be new for you. Gauss elimination method, method of factorization, that is LU decomposition, Gauss Seidel method, Householder method, symmetric tridiagonal matrix we have to take, and we have to find out the eigenvalues. Next, power method for largest eigenvalue. The last one is this one also. I hope you have done with the trapezoidal method, Simpson 1/3 and Simpson 3/8 rule, and errors in the above method. And the last one is a Taylor series and Euler's method, Euler's modified method. Can anyone tell me how many of points you have covered in your BSc?
Interpolation was done, ma'am.
Okay, interpolation, rather it is in 12th standard. Okay. Next, I think this one, Simpson 1/3, 3/8, and
Yes, ma'am. Chapter also done.
okay. Have you studied this one? Error and iteration for method of false position, secant method, Newton-Raphson method.
No, ma'am. Errors was not.
Okay. So for that, let me go for this. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we are going to see today, we'll see some basic points, and then we'll go for our methods and all. Okay. So before going to anything else, I will ask you how you are going to find out the root of a equation.
By equating it to 0.
What do you mean by root? If suppose zeta, I am assuming that if zeta is a root, so
It satisfies the given equation.
satisfy your given equation. That means LHS should be equal to RHS when we find the root of the equation. Okay. Now let us go for the next one. This is what the definition of root of equation. The number zeta is called the solution or the root of the equation when f of zeta is equal to 0. That is, if f of x is equal to 0, then we say that the f of zeta equal to 0. If zeta satisfy your equation, then zeta is called a root of equation. Next, we can write the equation. Suppose instead of having a single root, if we have multiple roots, I think you have studied this now. Suppose the equation can be written in the form of x minus zeta raised to m into some another function, right? So at that time, we can say g of zeta is not equal to 0. What do you mean by this condition? We are having only um, repetition up to m times about a root zeta and g of x on the condition g of zeta is non-zero. Then zeta is called a multiple root of our equation. Okay. Why we are going to study this root of equation now? Because in the first chapter, after the completion of error and their types and all, we'll go for the finding the root of any equation. Now, no doubt we have already studied how to find out the root of a equation. Yes, how to find out the root of any equation? Can anyone explain me the method?
And first we bring all the variables on LHS and then equate it to 0 and try
No,
to factorize it.
acha, no doubt factorization is a one method. If suppose it is quadratic, then it is very easy. What is the method for quadratic equation to find out the roots?
There are 3 methods, ma'am.
Oh,
Completing square method, factorization, and formula method.
okay, that is nothing but say minus b plus or minus under root of b square minus 4ac. That it will be more easy for finding the root of any quadratic equation, right? The another one is a synthetic method. If suppose it is not a quadratic equation, so anyone remember synthetic method?
Ma'am, you first choose some value and try to put up it and check if
Huh.
that's giving it
Suppose it is
RHS
of the
equal to
form
RHS.
x raised to 4 minus 5 x raised to 3 plus suppose x square minus 2x say plus 10 equal to 0. Now if I want to find out the root of this equation, so we are going to have a trial and error method. First we'll write down the coefficient 1 minus 5. Again it is 1 minus 2 10, and then we'll put up here the terms. Maybe it is plus 1 minus 1, and depending on that we are going to solve this. Correct? So these are the method if you're having any quadratic equation or any type of a polynomial, if you want to find out the roots, these are some methods. Okay. Now, what is my question? If suppose we are having already the methods how to find out the root of a, then why there is need to introduce again in the numerical analysis? We are going to solve the equation by using say bisection method. Next is secant method. Next is Newton-Raphson method. Method of false position. These are the methods in which we are going to find out the root of a equation. Okay, one may have a question already. We are having these methods, synthetic method and all, to find out the roots. But in this numerical analysis paper, again we are going to see how to find out the root of a equation by using bisection, secant method, Newton-Raphson, method of false position. Okay, secant method and method of false position are more similar. Bisection method is nothing but your iteration method. In Newton-Raphson method, we are going to use a derivative of your given function or given polynomial. Okay. So actually, why there is need to study once again these methods to find out the root? Since suppose I have given you one equation.
Ma'am, the more the degree of the equation, the harder it becomes to find out its roots. That's why we are using such type of methods.
No doubt we are using that type of a method, but one more reason is there. Suppose I will give you one example. With the help of that, you will understand. Everyone, please try to find out the roots by whatever the method you have studied. X cube minus x minus 1. And then I will tell why this method or why we are studying these methods. Try to find out the roots of these two equations by whatever the method you have studied up to now. Trial and error method, synthetic method, or if you want to take some common term, you can try by anyone. And just you have to say me what are the roots. Yes, can anyone tell me what are the roots? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what are the roots?
I'm not able to find.
Right. So that's why we have these methods. Sometimes we are not able to solve these equation or to find out the roots of this equation by usual method. So that's why we have the bisection, secant method, Newton-Raphson, and method of false position. Okay. I think everyone have tried it. Hope so. But still, you
Yes, ma'am.
find out the roots of this equation by any of the method. Okay. So hence we have these 4 to 5 methods. Rather, we can fit the formula of these methods in a computer, and that is called a computational techniques in numerical analysis. ये सभी formulas जो हमको मिलते हैं बाइसेक्शन से secant method, न्यूटन रैप्सन और फॉल्स पोजीशन, ये सभी formulas को हम लोग कंप्यूटर में फिट कर सकते हैं और डायरेक्टली आप अगर इक्वेशन दोगे, राइट, whenever you are going to provide any equation or any polynomial, they will give you the roots directly by running the program itself. Run it on C or C++. No dot bisection is a iteration method that cannot be applied in a computer, but secant method, Newton-Raphson and false position method, they can be fit in a computer in such a way that by putting a polynomial you can get the result what are the roots. Okay, so let us go firstly what is there in the errors. Okay, the first point in our first unit is error and their computations. Okay, so can anyone tell me what do you mean by error? No doubt you haven't studied up to now, but what do you think, what should be the definition of error? You haven't heard this name, error? Okay, if you are not studied, if you are not having any idea about error, let me go for a simple one. That is, there are actually two types of number, na? Approximate numbers and exact number, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what do you mean by approximate number and exact numbers? Can anyone give examples of these two categories?
Ma'am, 1.999 is an approximate number and 2 is the exact number.
Right. So, in the very similar way, we can run for 3.1428 and so on. This is what the value for pi, right? So this now actually this is what a exact value. No doubt we are not knowing what is this one, but what we are using in a calculation, whether you use all these values, exact value use करते हो का pi chi whenever you are going to find out the area of circle, it is pi r square. Whenever you are going to use this, you are using 3.1428, or rather you can use to 22 upon 7. But still, by using 22 upon 7 also, no doubt you are not going to get the exact answer, right? Suppose you use 3.142 or 3.14 simply. So this is what approximate value of your pi. Okay. So approximate value of a pi is nothing but 3.14, or someone may take 3.142. Okay. So this is what the exact number and this is what approximate value of a pi. Similarly, we can have some approximate value of E. What is E? Value of E, can anyone remember?
It's 1 point something.
It is somewhere in between 1 and 2. Right. So there also we can have some approximate value of a E. Okay. And what are the exact number? We can say it is, say 1, 2, 3, 1 by 2. Okay. 1 by 4. Then we can have 1 by 5. These are what? Exact numbers. And what is approximate number? We can take the example like 3.1428. The example of pi is an approximate number, or example of E, that is also approximate number. So here, whatever the numbers you are able to see, what is the value of 1 by 2? It is 0.5. What is the value of 1 by 4? So this is what 0.2. So these are nothing but the exact number. We are getting the exact value of this. But in case of approximate number, we cannot get what is the exact value of pi, or rather we cannot put the exact value for pi in our calculations. Okay. So these are what the difference between exact and approximate number. Now just now we have studied that the value of pi something like 3.14 and so on, and we are using the approximate value of pi. Suppose we are using it as 3.14. Okay. Now suppose we are finding the area the pi r square. Okay, suppose r is 2 square, and here pi. So what will be the area? 4 into pi, that is nothing but 4 into 3.14 and so on. That will be something near about to 12 or 13. Okay. Now can anyone tell me whether you get exact value of area?
No, ma'am.
Because since we are using the approximate value of a pi here, na, if suppose you have used a 22 upon 7, still you will get some approximate value, correct? If suppose you are having the calci, you can use the calci or you can use your mobile phone itself and you can calculate the value. No doubt you are not going to get the exact value of a area of that circle. Okay. So if suppose the exact, we don't know what is the exact value, since we can have, this is what a1, we can say approximate value, and this a is the exact value of area of that circle. So whatever the difference between these two, we can say it is a error. Okay, why this error has been generated? Because we haven't taken the exact value of a pi. Okay, so this is what a simple definition of error, that is a difference between the true value and the approximate value is called a error. Okay, what is the definition of error? Error is a difference between the true value of the quantity and its approximate value, and hence it is called a error. Okay, now many type of error we have studied. If you have the paper of a C or C++, if you have studied, in that you have studied there is error in the program, or if suppose you are going to run any program on the latex or text studio, so at that time also if suppose there is some mistake in the syntax, so it will show that the error is at suppose this line number. Okay, that is what a very important property of a text studio, that whenever you are going to run a program, it will show the error, and even it shows what is a line number where you have a error. Suppose the error is at line number 10, so it will show the error is at line number 10. Okay, so you can go directly to line number 10 and you can remove the error. What do you mean by the error in our computer languages? Simply the some mistake in the syntax. Okay, what do you mean by syntax? Suppose if you have a studied C or C++, we have this type of a language, no, hash include iostream dot h, and if you are going to use a math symbol, so hash include math dot h. These are the things we are using in a C or C++. And what we use in our latex, so we use firstly document class. Okay, in that document class you can have here you can write it as whatever you want to write. Suppose it is thesis, so you can write thesis, article, or say book. You can write anything. So it will give you directly that format. Document class, starting with document class, then we can use packages. So you can use package. Say you can have the maths one if you want to use a maths, or you can have, if suppose you have graph in your project, so you can include use package graph. Simply you have to provide a use package, and whatever the package you are going to use, simply you have to use as a use package graph. If suppose you want to use any image, so you can insert the image, the whatever the package related to image. There are so many different types of packages which we can use in our latex. Okay, and suppose you have included the image, but you haven't included the package which is used for running our image. Okay, एक इमेज इन्सर्ट करायची आपल्याला कुठे लेटेक्स मध्ये. Okay, but you haven't used a package which is used to run our image. So at that time it will show the error after running the program somewhere. This, suppose here is your syntax. and here it will show the error. Okay, so it will show the error at some line number, and if that line number is verified to you, you can go for that line and you can correct that error. So these are the errors in mathematics and in computer language. So what is error in mathematics is it is nothing but the difference between the true value and approximate value, or you can have this is what a true value of pi minus 3.14. This is also an error. Okay, so uh, even we can have the value for root 2 also 1.414 and so on. It is repeating. Okay, so here also we can say some approximate value of root 2 is 1.41. So these are also having some differences. So whatever the difference in between these two, that is called a error. Okay, so this is about the error. Now let us go for the next point, that is what significant number, or we can have significant digits. Okay, the digits that are used to express a number are called a significant digit or significant number. Okay, what is the definition? The digits that are used to express a number are called a significant digit or significant figure. Okay, suppose I will say that I will write one number. Significant digit or significant number, the number that or the digit that I used to express a number, the digits that are used to express a number are called significant digits or significant number. Suppose I have the number is say 2.148 and suppose 5. Okay, so how many significant digits it will have? Whatever the number of digits it has, it is called a significant digit. Okay, so how many numbers it have? Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so total 5 significant digits are there. Okay, this is what a definition. Whatever the number of digits we are using in our given number, that is called a significant digit. Now, in another way, suppose the number is like this, say 0.0009. So how many significant digit? Now here in the case of significant digit, we are not going to count a 0. Okay, so actually whenever you are having 0.000 after decimal, if it is 0.0009, so at that time we are going to count it as only how many significant digit it have? Only one. Okay, if it is of the form 0.0009, so it have only one significant digit. Or in another way, suppose I have the example of a say instead of having 0.00, suppose I write a number say 1000. So how many significant digit it will have? Because after 1 it is having the zeros. So how many significant digit it will have? 4 significant digit. In this case we have 5 significant digit. In this case we have only 1 significant digit. Or in this case you can have you can say that we are having 2 significant digit. So what is the definition of significant digit? It is simply going to fix that number. Okay, rather it is going to represent your number. So whatever the numbers you are going to have, it is called a significant digit. And one rule is there that 0. If it is having the zeros after the decimal, then you are not going to count. It is simply we can say it is having only one significant digit in this number, and it have only 2 significant digit in this number. And here, but after 1 it is having some values. Okay, one after 1 we can say it is 3 zeros, so we can have it is as a 4 significant digit. Okay, any doubt in the definition of error or significant digits?
Ma'am, after decimal point, if the 0 comes and then the digit comes, then 0 is not counted as significant digit. But
Yes.
after, but if it comes
Suppose if you
before the
want to
decimal,
say like this.
yes. But if it comes before the decimal, then it is counted.
Let me show you with the example itself. Suppose if I want to count how many significant digits are there in this number, say 1.009. Okay, after 1 there is 0. यहाँ पे आपका वैल्यू नहीं है ना, 0.000, like this it is. So that's why we are not counting. Actually ये significant digits का जो notations है और definition, it is related to computer language. So depending on that computer language, they have defined it that after अगर decimal के बाद zeros है यहाँ, फिर it is suppose it is of the form 0.000. If it is in this case, then we say that it is having only one significant digit. But if suppose it is of the form 1.009, so here after 1 it is having some numbers. Okay, 1.009. So sometime so here it have some value. Okay, so in this case we can say it is having 4 significant digit. So here also after 1 it will have some zeros. So hence it is, we can say 4 significant digit. But if it is of the form 0.00 like this, so it will, we will count only the numbers. But if it is of the form say 1.009 or 2.100, so you can count it as a 4 significant digit. Okay. After 1 or after any specified number or a fixed number, then we can count the zeros. Or if it is of the form 1000, 1 lakh, 1.009, so you have to count as a significant digit, otherwise it will be not treated as a significant digit. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let us go for the next point, that is rounding off of a number. This we have already studied rather many times. We are using in our daily life rounding number. Let us see the definition first. In the numerical computation, the number has large number of digits. Okay, because if whatever the numerical calculations we are going to do in a computer language, so everything in the computer language is stored in the form of a digit. Suppose that we have studied somewhere, I have shown you that whatever the image we have, the image is saved as a number. You can see in your mobile phone also. Whatever the image you are going to take, that if you go in the details of that image, you can see the number of that image. So every number in our computer language or in mobile phone, tablet, anywhere, it is in the form of a digits. So it has large number of a digit. So it is necessary to cut them to usable numbers. Okay. Suppose if you have clicked any image, no doubt initially it was with many numbers. Okay. Suppose you have studied these numbers, no? Let me write down the names. Binary number system, octal
Yes,
number,
ma'am.
octane पढ़ा है ना, octal number system, binary number system, hexadecimal number system. Have you studied these number system? At least binary number system everyone remembers, 0, 1 form. Okay. Suppose I want to write down the number 100, 1000, or suppose I want to write down a number 9, 8. So it is a very big number in binary number system, or other in octal number system or hexadecimal number system. So every time whenever you're going to write down any digit, it is stored in the form of a very large number, right? Here also, suppose I have some image that agar aapko number that is 98, if you want to read down a number 98, so that is also stored in the form of 10. So what will be the case for any image or any film or any video? So that is stored in the form of a number, and that will be a very large amount of a number. Suppose image is this one, so it may be having some numbers. Okay, it is stored in the form of some number. So what is the case for rounding of a number is, whatever the number we are getting for that particular image or a video or any number, so we have to
Ma'am,
reduce that to a
ma'am, the numbers are given to the pixels of the image.
I exactly don't know how they are going to give a numbers and all, because no doubt our camera हमारा जो भी इमेज होता है उस पे पिक्सल्स पे डिपेंड होता है ना, कि अगर इमेज बहुत ज्यादा क्लियर है तो पिक्सल्स मोर मेगा पिक्सल का होगा ना कैमरा. बट आई ऑल्सो डोंट नो हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू स्टोर एनी इमेज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ नंबर. मैंने भी सर्च किया बट उतना कुछ आइडिया नहीं मिला मुझे भी, क्योंकि वो ओटीपी का जो है ना मेथड, ओटीपी में क्या है वो ऑड नंबर सिस्टम यूज करते हैं. व्हेनेवर दे आर गोइंग टू जनरेट ओटीपी फॉर एनी टाइप ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस, they use some, they apply some methods of odd number, but I also don't know how they are going to store any image. If you know, or if you can also tell me. What we are studying is the number of that image. Now we have to reduce in the usable form, okay, so that we can use that number. Suppose you can see in your mobile phone also that number is there, say some, depending on date also, डेट के ऊपर भी होता है या कुछ पर्टिकुलर नंबर होता है, say 2012, like these numbers are there. I also don't know how they are going to reduce that number and all. Actually, the whatever the image you are going to select, or you have an image that have a very big number, then they reduce it to usable form. Okay. After reducing to usable form, it is of the very single line number. ना बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा नहीं होता है. So the process used in that is a rounding off of a number. And actually this rounding off of a number we use many times in some daily calculations. Suppose the rate of shirt is say 99. Okay, so you can round off and you can say that you can give 100 rupees. Sometime no doubt you the shopkeeper may give 1 rupee return for you people. Suppose you have taken some amount of money from your friend, if suppose it is of the say for 55, so you can give him return for 60 rupees also, right? So this is what a rounding off of a number we are using. Suppose 499 is there. If you have taken some amount of money, कुछ directly 499 नहीं लोगे ना. Sometime you have borrowed 100, 200, and then say some amount of money you have borrowed in such a way that the calculations come to 499, then directly you will give as a 500. No, this is what a rounding off of a number. And let us see now what is a rounding off of a number in our numerical analysis paper. Okay. So for that, let me read the rule. No doubt, after reading the rules, you will understand in short what is a rounding off of a number. Okay. The first one is to round off of a number to n significant digits. Suppose there are 100 digits in your image. Okay, जहाँ पे आपका image स्टोर हुआ है उस इमेज को वो 100 डिजिट्स के फॉर्म में कंसिडर कराए. सपोज यू वांट टू रिड्यूस टू n significant digit, that is suppose if you want to reduce that numbers to 10 significant digit, so discard all the digit to the right of the nth digit. Okay, nth digit के बाद जो भी numbers है उसको आपको remove करना है. That means you have to discard it, and if this discarded number is less than half, okay, whatever the next number you have, suppose the number is of the form 2.6489. Okay, so suppose the number is like this, and if suppose I want to find out the how many digits are there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, total 8 digits. Suppose I want to reduce it to 4 digits. What I will do, what is the first procedure? You have to remove all the digits after n digit. So we have to remove all the digits after nth digit. But while removing, what we have to consider? We have to consider the digit at n plus 1th position. Okay, suppose I want to reduce to nth significant digit. So we have after n plus, sorry, after nth digit we have this number. We have to see what is this number. If this number is greater than 5, you have to add one more number in the previous digit. If suppose it is less than 5, so you have to keep it as it is. Suppose it is greater, as it here in this case it is greater than 5, so you have to write it as 2.649. And if suppose instead of having a 9, if suppose here it was 1, so what we have to do, we have to keep this number as 2.648. Okay, simple thing is there. Suppose if you want to if you want to reduce the number to n significant digit, you have to work for n plus 1th digit number. And if this n plus 1th number is greater than 5, then you have to add one more number in previous digit. And if it is less than 5, then you have to keep it as it is. Okay.
Ma'am, what if it is equal to 5?
That is what the thing, na? If it is greater than 5, you have to add. If it is less than or equal to 5, you have to keep it as it is.
Okay, ma'am.
So these are what the rounding off of a number. The mini MCQ type of a question may be possible with the help of this. That round off the number up to 4 significant digit, round off the number up to 2 significant digit. They will give you the some number. Suppose the number is 38.46235. Suppose the number is 38.38.46128. Okay, if this number is given to you and if the question is asked, reduce this number to 4 significant digit. What you will do? 38.46. Now after nth digit or after 4th digit, the number at the 5th place or 5th digit is nothing but 1, which is less than 5. So we can keep the number as 38.46. Okay. So in this way, you have to work for the example. Suppose, let me give you the homework, or rather, I will ask here only, I will give you some digits and you have to reduce it to 4 significant digits. Okay. Write down the numbers. First one is say 0.7009. Next is suppose it is 3. You have to reduce this to up to 4 significant digits and tell me the answer.
Ma'am, first is 0.7010.
0.7010. Can you tell me why you have taken 1 here? First, you have to see how many significant digits we have. After 0, यहाँ के 0 को हमको count ही नहीं करना है ना. How many significant digit it will have? 70098. So total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 significant digits. And what is the question? You have to reduce up to 4 significant digits. So what will be the result? 0.700. These are 3 significant digits and 9. And what is the number 8 here? Sorry. So here 8. So you have to add one more number. So it will be 0.70010. यही बोला था क्या आपने?
Yes, ma'am.
So it is you have to simply add one more number. So it will be 0.70010. So at that time you no need to count this 0 as a significant digit. What about the second number?
36.15.
I will tell you once again every student that 36.15 you have told just now, but you should not say as a 15 after decimal. Okay, before decimal you can say it is 36. After decimal you have to write it as or you have to speak like 36.15 or 36.1428. Don't read it as 36.1482 like this. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
it is not having any value. So what is the number? 36.15, because 8 is greater than 5 and hence we have added it. Okay. So these are the simple examples. You can have the MCQ type of a question for this one. Now let us go for the next point, that is definition. We have studied already. Now let us see some types of error. Okay. What is the definition of error? The difference between exact value and difference between the exact value of a number and approximate value. This is called a error. Okay. Next, the definition is absolute error, which is written as absolute. The number, the name itself suggests that we have to write it in the form of modulus x minus x1. Suppose x is a true value, x1 is approximate value. Whatever the number we are getting, it should be positive. Hence, we have put the modulus, absolute error. Okay. Next is relative error. So what is the value of a relative error? It is nothing but absolute error divided by the true value. True value means what? Your x. Or we can, instead of saying exact value, we can say it is true value. And here it is approximate value. Next is what? Percentage error, which is written in the form of relative error into 100, is called a percentage error. Okay. So see this definition. What is absolute error? Whatever the error we have calculated, error is nothing but the difference between the true value and approximate value. Its modulus value will give you absolute error. That is absolute number. सिंपली सपोज यहाँ पे आपके पास ट्रू वैल्यू कुछ है, अप्रोक्सीमेट वैल्यू कुछ है, उन दोनों का डिफरेंस क्या आएगा? इट मे बी समटाइम इट इज पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव. टू हैव अ simplification, we have considered the positive one, that is nothing but the absolute error. The next one is relative error. That means simply we are going to relate it with our true value. So absolute error divided by the true value is called a relative error. Next is percentage error, which is nothing but the relative error into 100. Okay, whatever the value of relative error we are getting, 100 into that relative error, or you can write it as 100 into absolute error divided by true value, or it is 100 into x minus x1 divided by x, which is what were percentage error. Simply we have multiplied by 100 and we get what is the percentage of error in your number. Okay, here this will give you the number percentage of the error in your calculations. And here relative error means what? It will give you the relative. The name itself suggests that it will give you the what is a relative error in your calculations. Okay, simply the definitions are there: absolute error, relative error, and percentage error. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Now let us calculate the absolute error, relative error for the approximate value for pi. You also have to write down this. Write the example. An approximate value of pi is 3.14285. An approximate value of pi is Approximate value of pi is 3.14285. And its true value is 3.14159, and its true value is 3.14159. ये पण true नहीं है actually. While using the calculations we are using it, and the true value of pi is 3.14159. Okay, what is the question? The approximate value is 3.14285 and the true value is 3.14159. Find absolute error and relative error. Find absolute error and relative error. Find it and tell me the answer.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the answer?
Absolute error is 0.00126.
What is relative error?
Is it 0.0004009?
Correct. Anyone else getting the same answers?
Yes, ma'am.
Find percentage error also. Simply you have to multiply by 100 for a relative error.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Everyone are doing the same calculation. It is very easy. Simply subtraction is there and division for relative error. And for a percentage error, you have to multiply by 100. This is what a very simple example. Now let us go for some different example, that is evaluate the sum of, we can write evaluate the sum s equal to, evaluate the sum s equal to root 3 plus root 5 plus root 11. We will take it for 7 itself. So same example is there in your SS Sastri book. The name for the recommended book is SS Sastri, and even for integral equation, I have told you that RP Kanwal is a recommended book for paper of integral equation. Even more books are available for a paper of integral equation in our main library. You can take a MD Rai Singhania book, RP Kanwal, Punnaswamy, Pundir and Pundir. Let me write down for integral equation. RP Kanwal. You can use Pundir and Pundir. Next, it may be MD Rai Singhania. For numerical analysis, the only one book is sufficient. And the PDF of this book is also available. But for this book, I don't know whether PDF is available or not. You can come to main library. There are so many copies are available of RP Kanwal book and Pundir MD Rai Singhania. This is recommended and these are reference books. Okay. Have you written the question? Evaluate the sum S equal to root 3 plus root 5 plus root 7. Collect 4 significant digits and find its absolute error and relative error. Correct? Collect the 4 significant digits. Collect the 4 significant digits. Find its absolute error and relative error. By collecting 4 significant digits, find absolute error and relative error. Okay. So what you have to do first, we have to find out the value of root 3, root 5, root 7. Just type it in on your Kelsey. Kelsey आहेत सगळ्यांकडे? If not,
Yes, ma'am.
or you can have the your computer itself or in your mobile phone also. For Samsung, it have a Kelsey. I don't know about other one. So you can have the value of root 3, root 5, root 7. Okay, just tell me what are the values of root 3, root 5 and root 7. सांगा रूट 3 ची व्हॅल्यू काय आहे?
It's 1.73205.
1.73205. Okay, let me take the value of root 5. 2.23606. Similarly, I can have the value of root 7 is 2.64575. Okay, have you taken the values? Now what is the question? Collect the 4 significant digit. Okay, collect the 4 significant digit and find its absolute error and relative error. Okay, now let me first take the 4 significant digit from this. The value of root 3 I can take it as 1.732 only, because after 2 the number is 0, which is less than 5, hence we cannot add it. Next is 2.236, again it is 0. Similarly, we can have 2.645, but here 7 is there, so we have to add one more number to the previous number, that will be 6. Okay with this?
Yes, ma'am.
So after collecting the 4 significant digits, we have to add them. Tell me the addition.
6.614.
6.614. So this is what the sum we have calculated. Okay. But we have to find out the absolute error and relative error. But just like an example which we have solved for pi, in that example we have the approximate value of pi as well as exact value of pi. दोन्ही दिलं होतं ना त्या एक्झाम्पल मध्ये, पण इथे काय फक्त √3 दिले. ओके. So what you have to do, write down here absolute error for √3. Absolute error for √3. Actually, I also don't know why to take like this. Absolute error of √3 is, here I will write it as 1 point. What is the value for √3? 1.732. 1.715. Assuming that this is a approximate value, and how you have to assume this, whatever the number we have, 1.732, we have to subtract 0.0005 if the value of a approximate number and true value. Rather, in the case of pi, the example we have solved for pi, at that time we have the value of x as well as x1, that is a true value and approximate value. But in this case, we are only provided with the value of √3. So that's why to find out the approximate value, we have to simply subtract from the value of √3 at 0.005. Whatever the number we are getting is 1.715, and that you have to keep it as a approximate number. So I also don't know why to subtract 0.0005. Maybe the reason that this number is very very small now, so this itself will come as a error. बरोबर ना? हे दोन्ही सबट्रॅक्ट केल्यानंतर काय येणार आहे रिझल्ट? Subtract it and tell me what are the answer. What is the answer?
I mean, it's 0.0017.
Okay, let me take what is the value.
Ma'am, it should be 1.7315.
Okay, 1.7. 315. Here it should be 3, no? Okay, after subtracting, here you will get 1.7315, and you have to subtract it and you will get the error is 0.0005. Why to subtract 0.0005? Because this will come as an error now, so which is very very small quantity, 0.0005. So that's why maybe the reason behind this, that if the approximate value is not given, you have to subtract 0.0005 from the original number. So here we get the absolute error in √3 as this one. Calculate another one, absolute error for √5. Similarly, calculate for absolute error in √7. Calculate it and tell me what are the values. सांगा काय आलेत व्हॅल्यूज. Is it same that I have written?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is our aim to find out? Absolute error. Now simply what we have to do, we have to add all the values of absolute error. Absolute error in root 3, root 5 and root 7. Combining all those, it will be 0.005, 0.0005, 0.0005. It will be nothing but 0.015. बरोबर ना?
Yes, ma'am.
0.0015 ना?
0.001.
So absolute error we got it as 0.0015. So what will be the relative error? It is 0.0015 divided by the value of a sum we have calculated. What was the value? 6.614. Addition of all this. What will be the value of a relative error? 0.0015 divided by the value of a sum we have calculated 6.614. Tell me the answer.
0.0002267.
0.000 22.
67.
Whether everyone got the same answer of absolute error and relative error? Those who have solved, solve the next one. Find the evaluate the sum s equal to root 2 plus root 5 plus root 11. Root 2 plus root 5 plus root 11. Solve this example and tell me the value of absolute error and relative error.
Ma'am, four significant digits.
Again, you have to work for 4 significant digits. Same example, whatever we have studied for last one.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, absolute error is 0.0015. Relative error is 0.002153.
Whether anyone else getting this, because I haven't solved it root 2 root 5 plus root 8. What is the answer? Can you please repeat?
Ma'am, relative error is 0.0002153.
Absolute error?
It's same 0.0015.
Okay. बाकीचे सॉल्व केलेत का? What is the value of relative error? Rather, first tell me what is the sum after getting a 4 significant digits. Yes,
6.967.
6.967.
6.967.
Okay. Simply you have to divide 0.0015 by 6.967 and you may get this value. Okay.
Ma'am, how to find the best approximation?
That I will show you. Have you completed first example, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let us go for the next one. What you have to do, we have to find out the best approximation among all these numbers, right? For that, what we will do is we'll find out the absolute error among all of them. So how to find out absolute error? It will be nothing but 1 by 3 minus 0.30. Similarly, we will find out for next one absolute error for next number 1 by 3 minus 0.33. 1 by 3 minus 0.34. Okay. Can you tell me the numbers? Calculate it and tell me. What is absolute error in first one?
Ma'am, it's 0.033.
Okay, what about the next?
Point 0.0033.
Next 0.0067, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So after finding this, we have to check which one is the best approximation. Okay. Now, with the help of whatever the absolute error you are getting, can you check which one is the best approximations? Okay,
Ma'am,
just
0.0033.
correct. That is the best approximation. But how to find out this one is which number is greater from all these three?
It's the first one.
The first one is greater one, largest one. And this second one is again, no doubt it's smaller than 0.333, but it is greater than this 0.003. So whatever the number we are getting is that is the difference between these two, the absolute error, whatever we are calculating, the absolute error is minimum for this 0.33. Okay. So we are getting absolute error is minimum for the value 0.33, and hence we can say that the best approximation for the 1 by 3 is 0.33. Or in another way, if suppose in this example it is easy, as we are having some different value here in the absolute error. And if it is difficult for if to find out the differences between absolute error, what you can do is you can go for relative error. Okay. अगर कोई एग्जांपल में तीनों वैल्यूज बहुत नियर बाय इक्वल आ रहे हैं, अगर 0.33 0.33 अगेन वंस अगेन, so you can go for a relative error, and then you will get the some differences in those values of relative error corresponding to that number, and you can then choose whatever the minimum one, जहाँ पे आपको सबसे small difference मिल रहा है उसी को आप most or best approximation, you can say it is best approximation for the number 1 by 3. Okay. Anyone else having a doubt related to this example?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So what we have studied from the starting one, first we have seen the syllabus for numerical analysis, right? And the next we have seen what is the error, or rather how to find out the root of equation. Why we are going to study this bisection method, secant method, Newton-Raphson, and method of false position, because some equations are there whose root cannot be found out directly by the usual method. The next we have seen is a definition of error. Next is what is exact number, approximate number, the example of pi, the example of these numbers. And next we have seen what is significant digit, significant number, and rounding off of a number. Why to use a rounding off of a number? To store any image, any video, any number in a smaller form or in a minimum compact form. So that's why we are using the rounding off of a number. This we have already used many time in the daily life. If it is greater than 5, we have to add it one number. If it is less than 5, we have to keep it as it is. Next, we have seen what is absolute error, relative error, and the percentage error. Any doubt with all these?
No, ma'am.
No. If it is not, let me go for the next one. That is the first method which we'll see for finding the root is a bisection method. Okay. So this bisection method, the name itself suggests that we are going to bisect it. And the next one that I want to tell you is in this method, or rather before using bisection method, we must know intermediate value theorem. Yes, anyone else remembering intermediate value theorem? आठवते का कुणाला intermediate value theorem?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me write down the statement. If f of x is a continuous function on the closed interval a b, if f of x is continuous function closed interval AB and f of a into f of b is less than 0, f of a into f of b is less than 0, then the equation f of x equal to 0 has at least one real root. Then the equation f of x equal to 0 has at least then the equation f of x equal to 0 has at least one real root or odd number of real root in the interval a to b. Read the statement and try to understand and tell me what do you understand from the statement. If f of x is a continuous function, हे तर समजतं आपल्याला continuous function, and f of a into f of b is less than 0. What do you mean by this statement? F of a into f of b is less than 0.
Ma'am, the function is negative.
Okay, we
It's
cannot.
taking
F of a into
negative
f
value.
of b, na? F of a into f of b is less than 0. It doesn't mean that your function is negative. No doubt the interval a to b is given. Suppose it is 0 to 1. But what is the consideration? F of 0 into f of 1 is less than 0. Simply means that f of a and f of b are of opposite sign. Na? If it is positive, this may be negative. Here is negative, it may be positive. Okay, vice versa. F of a is negative, then f of b is positive. And f of a is positive, at that time f of a may be negative. If suppose both are negative, the resultant is positive. If both are positive, resultant is positive. Okay. Then the equation f of x has at least one real root or odd number of real root in a equation in the interval a to b. No doubt we'll consider only with one real root because we need only one real root. Okay. Now let us see what is this theorem. F of x is a continuous function on the closed interval AB. Okay, suppose here is a point A, here is B. We'll go for different cases also. Okay, and assume that the curve is like this, and this is your function f of x. And what is the consideration for this function? F of x is a continuous function, and f of a into f of b is less than 0. That is, we are provided that f of a is negative. So if f of a should, अगर f of a को negative दिखाना है तो हमें क्या consider करना पड़ेगा? It may go in this direction. Suppose here is some value of f of a, and here all is positive, so we can consider this is what f of b in the function f of x. Okay. So f of a is negative and f of b is positive, or vice versa. We can consider another condition that instead of having this interval, we can have the interval here also a to b, and here we can consider this is a graph, here f of a, here is f of b. Okay. Or in another way, suppose we have the function of the form, here is f of a, here is f of b. So f of b is negative, f of a is positive. There are so many possibilities are there. So what is a main consideration? F of a into f of b should be less than 0. Okay. So if the condition is like this, that f of a into f of b should be less than 0, so we can consider anything. Either f of a is positive or f of b is negative. One of them should be positive, another should be negative. So what do you mean by this? Can anyone predict the graph, this graph, this one? If the interval is like this, if the interval is here, suppose this is what A and suppose here is B. What you can predict, whatever the intersection here we are getting on the x-axis, this will be the root, no? इथे काय येणार आहे f of zeta or f of any number. हे कुठली लाईन आहे x axis आहे. On the x axis what is y? 0. If y is 0, what will be f of zeta? It will be 0. इथे intersection ला y ची व्हॅल्यू 0 येणार ना, इथे पण 0 येणार आहे y ची व्हॅल्यू. Here also it will be 0. So f of that number is 0. What is that number? We have to find out. That is nothing but the root of the equation. Okay. Now in every curve, in every situation, you are able to see that somewhere f of b is positive, f of a is negative, somewhere in between we are getting the root. Okay, from the curve itself we can say that from the figure we can say here we get the root zeta of our equation. Intersection means what? We are getting the root at point ना. यहाँ पे ये x axis है. X axis means what? Y coordinate is 0. What is f of zeta? That is nothing but your y coordinate ना. Since your function is y is equal to f of x. Y is 0 means what? F of x is 0 at that point. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in every situation, whenever you have one is positive, another is negative, somewhere in between that we are getting the root. Okay. So here first one f of x is continuous. Next is f of a into f of b is 0. Then the equation has at least one real root. What we say? The equation has at least one real root. Or it may be the function may be like this, na? Okay, so at least one real root means what? It may have many roots also. The graph of sin x, cos x, in the interval say a to b. Many times we are getting the zeros. So here we get 1, 2, 3, 3 zeros. Okay. So before going to that, let me ask you, if suppose I am having this type of a question. Can you say how many roots are positive, how many roots are negative, and how many roots are complex number from the equation itself without solving?
No, ma'am.
Hello?
No, ma'am, we can't say.
We can't say. Without exactly solving or without going to the answer, we cannot say how many roots are positive, negative, or complex number. Okay. For that, we have one thing that here f of x is there. How many times the sign changes? Plus 2 minus 1, the first one. Again minus 2 plus the second one. Plus 2 plus, no sign changes. Plus to minus, again one more time sign changes. Minus to minus, no sign change. Minus to plus, that means 4 times. Okay. So in the case of f of x, there is 4 times change of a sign. So that's why there will be 4 positive root. Similarly, you can go for f of minus x. Whatever the terms we have, instead of having x, you have to put it as minus x. It will be x raised to 8 minus become plus 6x raised to 7. No? 7 is odd number. No? So that's why this minus will be plus. Plus x raised to 6 minus 5x raised to 5 minus 10x raised to 4 minus x square plus 1. Getting me? ते लिहिले
Yes, ma'am.
शॉर्टकट आहे ह्याला ऍक्च्युअल रिझन काय मलाही माहित नाही. So simply for in f of x, you have to check how many times the sign changes. That will be number of positive roots. Now let me check how many times sign changes. Plus to plus, no sign change, no sign change, one time. Here no sign change, no sign change, again one time. So totally we can say 2 negative roots and 4 positive roots. What is the degree of our equation? 8, no?
Yes, ma'am.
If 8 is a degree, out of 8, we are getting 6 roots are real. 6 roots are real. Maximum roots may possible are 8. Okay, so we can say the remaining 2 roots will be the complex roots. Okay, maybe complex roots, because already we are saying that 4 are positive real positives, 2 are negative. The remaining whatever we get out of the degree, यहाँ पे जो degree है maximum whatever the degree of our equation, that number of roots we can get. No, we can say the remaining roots are the complex numbers. Okay, so this is what a technique we are using for finding the number of positive, negative, and complex roots. Okay, so we have studied this intermediate value theorem. Any doubt with this intermediate value theorem?
No, ma'am.
If not, let me go for the next one, that is bisection method. This is the first method in which we are going to study. That is, no doubt it is an iterative method, how to find out the root of the equation. Okay. So what we have, we are provided with one polynomial or an equation, f of x equal to 0. Okay, so first we have to apply intermediate value theorem for this equation and find a and b. We have to find out a and b in such a way that f of a is positive, f of b is negative, or vice versa. It may be f of a is negative and f of b is positive. Anything can happen. Okay? What you have to do? First, we have to apply intermediate value theorem in such a way that we have to find out a and b in such a way that for a function f of x, suppose in the case of the x cube minus x minus 1 that I have given you for solving. Okay, we'll choose the numbers. Say f of 0. What is f of 0? Minus 1 now from this equation. What is f of 1? Okay, what is f of 2?
Five.
5. So here you get the two values. One is negative, another is positive. So what we can say is the values of f is one is positive, another is negative. Somewhere in between these two, we will get the root. By which method or by which rule? By using intermediate value theorem. But intermediate value theorem tells us if f of a into f of b is less than 0, then we get exactly at least one root in this interval. Okay. can select this interval also 0 to 2, but this will be larger one, no? So you have to select the smallest interval in such a way that one is positive, another is negative. Okay. So here also we have to choose a number A and B by using intermediate value theorem in such a way that f of A is positive, another is negative. Okay, one is positive, another is negative. After using this, as the name itself suggests that we have to use a bisection method. That means we have to bisect it, the given interval. How to bisect? Let us see. Now, with the help of this method, we got the values of A and B, na? Just like this. What is A in this case? It is 1. What is B? It is 2. F of 1 is minus 1. F of 2 is 5. So, we got the interval for this example that the root will lie in between 1 and 2. Okay, we don't know what is the exact value of that root. With the iterative method, we'll find out the value. But we know that the root lies in the interval 1 to 2. Okay. So now here in this method, we got it. Suppose A naught, B naught is the first interval we choose. Okay. So let us go to bisect it. So x1 is equal to A naught plus B naught divided by 2. So in this example, what will be the root? 1 plus 2 divided by 2. That will be nothing but 1.5. Na? So this will be the next number. Now what we have to do? We have to find out the value of f of A naught and f of x1. Check the value of f of x1. Okay. Whatever may be the value. What you have to do? First you have to bisect your interval. How to bisect? The name itself suggests that you have to first find out the value of x1 by using A naught plus B naught divided by 2. Then find out f of x1. Okay. Now we can have the any value of f of x1. It may be positive or it may be negative. Okay. So if f of A naught into f of x1 is less than 0, or it may have another condition, f of A naught into f of x1 is greater than 0. Both can happen. Na? If it is less than 0, what we can say? The root lies in A naught to x1. The interval now become smaller one. Barobar? Getting me? The interval smaller one. A naught to x1. Initially it was A naught to B naught. Okay, just like the example 1 to 2. Okay, 1 to 2. And what is the next one? 1.5. Okay, instead of having 1 to 2 interval, now we have reduced to 1 to 1.5. So here also somewhere, suppose assuming that the result is in such a way that f of A naught into f of x1 is less than 0. There may be a case of this one now. हे पण असू शकतो. F of A naught into f of x1 is greater than 0. And if we assume that it is less than 0, we can say the next interval is A naught to x1. Okay. And if suppose f of A naught into f of x1 is greater than 0, then we can say that the root lies in the interval x1 to b naught. In this case also the interval will be smaller. Adi काय होता interval A naught to b naught. If it is positive, the result is positive, that is f of A naught into f of x1. If it is greater than 0, the root lies in x1 to b naught. And if it is less than 0, by intermediate value theorem, root lies in the interval A naught to x1. Why this is so? Initially what we have told, the root lies in A to B or root lies in 1 to 2 in the example. Okay. Now if suppose f of A naught into f of x1 is greater than 0, that means f of 1 into f of 1.5 हे greater than 0 आला तर काय होणार आहे? रूट हे स्टार्टिंगच्या इंटरवल मध्ये तर नसणार आहे by intermediate value theorem. Because if both are of same sign, that means your curve is here only. It is not going to touch your axis. Getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
So if it is not going to touch your axis, it means that the root is not in this interval. So what is possibility? Obviously, it must be in the second interval. कारण की आपण अज्युमच केलं ना, द रूट लाईज इन द इंटरवल 1 to 2 or a to b. In general, it is a to b, and in the example, it is 1 to 2. So we can say, what is another possibility? The root obviously must lie in the interval 1.5 to 2, or it may be in the interval x1 to b0. Okay, now we have to rename the interval. What is the next interval? A0 to x1, we can rename as a1, b1. Again, you have to do the same procedure. x2 is equal to a1 plus b1 divided by 2. Find out f of x2. It may be positive or it may be negative. Okay. Again, you have to check what is the next condition. You have to check f of a1 into f of x2. It may be less than 0 or greater than 0. Okay. If it is less than 0, what we can say? The root lies in the interval a1 to x2. If it is greater than 0, then we can say the root lies in the interval x2 to b1. Getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
समजतंय का? Everyone getting the
Somewhat
same?
confused.
No doubt it will be somewhat confusing, but while solving the example, the idea will be more clear. It is very easy to understand, ना? क्या करना है आपको? एक एग्जाम्पल है. That's why I am taking the example simultaneously. आपको कोई एग्जाम्पल लेना है, उसमें A and B चूज करना है, right? After choosing A and B, what you have to do? We have to check the intermediate value theorem. By checking intermediate value theorem, we have found f of a0 into f of x1. If it is less than 0, then the root lies in a0 to x1 by intermediate value theorem. Intermediate value theorem काय सांगतो? दोन्हीच्या साइन अपोजिट असेल तर रूट त्या इंटरवल मध्ये असेल. If it is greater than 0, we can say the root lies in the next interval. Okay. What is bisection method? Whatever the interval you have choose, you have to bisect it and you have to find out the next approximate root. Okay. Similarly, we have to do the same procedure for the next one. Now rename the interval a0 x1 to a1 b1. a0 हे fixच असणार आहे. Okay, whatever the a0 you have chosen. Now what you have to do? Again, you have to find out the, assuming that suppose x2 to b1 is a next interval. So this x2 b1 we have to rename it as a2 b2. Okay. After renaming it as a2 b2, what you have to find out? Again, you have to find out x3 is equal to a2 plus b2 divided by 2. Check the value of f of x2. Okay, after checking the value of f of x2, what you have to check next? F of a2 into f of x2, right? Sorry, what is the interval we have chosen? A1 b1, a2 b2, correct. So we have to check the value of this one. It may be greater than 0 or less than 0. If it is less than 0, by intermediate value theorem, a2 into x2, that is the root lies in the interval a2 x2. And if it is greater than 0, root lies in the x2 to b2. Okay, the same procedure we have to apply up to 5 or 6 iterations. Okay. No doubt you are not going to get the exact answer. Here we will get the approximate answer after 6 or 7 iterations. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yes.
If you are not having any doubt related to anything, whatever we have studied in today's lecture, you can leave the meeting. Thank you. In the next lecture, we will go for the examples of numerical, bisection method.